Hello friends, and welcome to another episode. In today's video, we're going to tell you an amazing story about the incredible loyalty of a wolf, which took place in a small village near the edge of a forest. But before we start, if you're new to this channel, then don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. If you're already done, then let's get on with it. In a clearing in the middle of the forest, there was a forester's house, but no forester lived there. Only a woman, Valentina, her young son, and their dog. The woman and the boy had been part of a small but happy family once, living in a village on the edge of the trees, but their happiness didn't last. One evening, when Valentina was out getting groceries, their house caught fire, with her husband and her little son sleeping inside. The house was completely destroyed, and her husband was killed, but her son was saved by a big black dog of an unknown breed. The dog threw itself into the burning house and dragged the child to safety. The smoke had almost suffocated the boy, and the brave dog was badly injured by the flames, which scorched its fur. Valentina returned from the shops that night to find the dog lying next to her son in front of the burned house, barely alive. Unable to bear living in the village where the tragedy happened, Valentina had asked the village chairperson to appoint her to a place of an elderly forester who had been looking for a replacement. The chairman resisted at first.
"Have you ever heard of a woman with a young child living all alone in a forest full of wolves and bears?"
he said. But Valentina was persistent, and eventually she achieved her goal. So the three of them, Valentina, her son, and the faithful dog which had saved his life, went to live deep in the middle of the woods. To begin with, the chairman often called at the house to check on them. But soon he realized that the new forester and his scourge did a good job of keeping them safe, and eventually he left them alone. Their first winter was calm, but in the early spring, the dog began to disappear into the forest for long periods of time. Valentina did not know what to do. One day, as she stood at the door of the house, anxiously awaiting the return of the prodigal dog, she saw him coming back down the path out of the woods. This time, however, he wasn't alone. A young she-wolf was with him, and hesitating at the edge of the trees. The young family allowed the she-wolf to stay in a small wooden shack a short distance from the house. For a while, everything was fine, but the she-wolf did not like the presence of humans. Whenever the woman approached the shack, the wolf immediately hid and growled and showed her teeth. One night, however, the faithful dog began to whine and scratch at the door of the house. Valentina went into the yard, and he led her to the shack. Slowly, Valentina opened the door. The she-wolf was lying on the floor, barely breathing. Valentina climbed inside and began to gently feel her. The wolf was weak and did not resist, only whined. None of the she-wolf's bones were broken, and she couldn't see any injuries. Valentina didn't know what to do, but her dog was lying down next to the wolf, looking up at her with a hopeful expression in his eyes. Valentina looked at him, and then a thought occurred to her. Maybe medicine would help the wolf. She brought out a first aid kit and gave the she-wolf an injection. Later that same night, the she-wolf gave birth to a litter of puppies. They had the shape of wolves, but their fur was the same pure black as Valentina's dog. But with the joy came sorrow. A month later, the loving dog died while protecting the house from a bear. Valentina buried him in the garden. The she-wolf did not leave the woman and remained faithful to her for many years. But human life is not infinite. One day, the chairman was riding to the forester's house when suddenly a wolf rushed out of the trees towards him and his horse. He pulled his gun from his shoulder and was about to shoot, but suddenly he recognized that it was Valentina's wolf. The wolf ran alongside his horse and whined at him. Sensing something was wrong, the man urged the horse on. He found Valentina in the house, but her body was already cold. A medic was called and said that her heart had stopped. That night, the whole village could not sleep. They could hear wolves howling all night long. What happened to the wolf and her puppies, you may ask? Well, they returned to the forest. They say that Valentina's she-wolf did not let another wolf near her until death. 3 years later, she was found dead at the dog's grave. The chairman buried her close by. Her puppies grew up and became leaders and had pups of their own. It is said that the packs whose leaders had black fur never attacked people or cattle, and the hunters did not touch them either, since they remembered the faithful dog and his she-wolf. The fur is black and the soul is white, they said about them. Such is the story of love and loyalty. Well, that was it. We hope you enjoyed it. What do you think about this story? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, then like and be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you'll be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.